Let's consider more broadly, outside of Africa, and including Africa, those individuals who are most affected by world food price increases. According to the World Bank back in 2005, 2.56 billion people, that's nearly 47% of the world's population, lived on less than $2 a day. Now, studies have suggested that among the world's poorest, caloric intake falls by 0.5% whenever average food prices increase by 1%. So if there's a 10% increase in the price of food, we can imagine that there's a 5% decrease in the caloric intake of individuals. While for those of us in the West, for many of us in the West, that may not be a big change. However, for individuals who are barely getting enough caloric intake, this can be a substantial effect on their health and well-being. According to IFPRI, the International Food Policy Research Institute, the number of food insecure people in the world would increase by over 16 million persons for each percentage increase in the real prices of staple foods, foods like cereals and oils. Now, the world's poorest people spend between 50 and 80% of their household income on food. That's compared to in developed countries where the percentage can be as low as 20% or even lower. Large increases in the prices of staple foods will lead to malnutrition and can also lead to political and social unrest. Let's take a moment and look at what's happened in the most recent past of food prices. What we can see here is the monthly price data, and I have it in nearly quarters, from January 2004 to April, and actually the data goes all the way to May 2011. Once again, we're looking at world food prices and the meat prices. The thing that you can see a little more clearly in this graphic is that there is a much slower growth in the price of food once we leave 2008 into 2011. But there was a substantial and significant price increase in the 2007-2008 period. But prices have risen higher than that previous time period. Remember, we're looking at indices with a base year of 2002-2004. So anything above 100 represents a price increase. When we look at oilseeds, we see a similar sort of pattern, but what we see here is that compared to food prices, the general measure, the price of oilseeds is rising much sharper and higher than what we see the World Food Price Index doing. And then in our last graphic here, we see that cereals have increased similarly to what oilseeds have done. Remember that these are staple goods, so the poorest people of the world are significantly affected by these price increases.